All right, we are back. Yes, we are.
We have a special guest, Jody Reed, with your What You Thought You Knew About Baseball and You Don't segment. He was just asking if we're live today at 1 o'clock. And I said, yeah, we've been going live for about 2 or 3 years now. Nobody watches, but we do it anyway. Uh, we've got Jason Crawford, the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, Paul
Yes,
Reed here.
sir.
It is July 10th, 2026. And welcome back to another edition of Live Feed Read. Funny, I'm looking down at the corner of my computer screen and all it says is very hot. All right, so let's jump into it because usually Mr. Reed's segment on baseball takes way longer than my and Jason's segment on the law because let's not kid each other. It's much more interesting.
So maybe a little
All right,
bit
so
more.
but here's the thing. Once again you hear this is about this. We call this hodgepodge. Number one is the Supreme Court and some of the statistics. Number two, Jason almost got ripped off because he's an idiot. And then number three is the baseball education time. So let me ask you guys this. How many cases do you think the Supreme Court hears from their October 1st docket when it begins in 2025 till their June docket when it ends in 2026? How many cases do you think they decided?
Federal or
It's
Florida?
the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay.
A dozen.
If you did I mean, maybe just under 1,000, 700. I'm gonna go 700.
Well, that's a little high, but believe it or not, it's 165 cases.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm thinking Jody's closer than you and what America thinks, how many cases, because you hear about 5 or 10 of them. And you think those 5 or 10 is the only thing that they're hearing. It's actually 165. Now, of that 165, let's go back. There are 9 justices on the Supreme Court. 6 of them are basically reported or placed on the bench by Republican presidents. And currently 3 of them are by Democrat or liberal. So you got a 6-3 split is what they call it. 6 conservatives and 3 liberals. Of that 165 cases, how many do you think, statistically speaking, are unanimous? And there's about 160, 170 each year. So it's kind of about the same. Statistically, what would you say the split is? 9-0 out of 165 cases on average per year. Last year, 164. How many?
Yeah,
10%.
I'd say it's under 10 cases total is what I would think.
10 cases? Well, that would be maybe 5%. 42% are unanimous.
No way.
Yeah.
That's good news. That's really good news.
That is why I am bringing it up because I agree that Jody or you, both of you, are like hardly none.
Yeah, I would have thought at least one person says no.
Basically half, 42%. Again, statistically, it ranges in the 40 to 50%. Okay, and people think it's all this big, Fox versus CNN, Supreme Court, so to speak. That's not the case at all. All right.
Yeah, no, that's actually very hopeful because the Supreme Court only hears cases that are the most difficult of the difficult, so they make it all the way and get referred up there. And then of those, almost half of them they unanimously agree on. That's actually very positive.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, you don't hear about it. That's simple as that. You just don't because one of the cases was whether or not, now you may have heard of it, you may not, but whether or not Trump was allowed to remove a federal reserve board governor, whether he could just do that unilaterally.
Okay.
They said no. They said no. That's a special brand of government, so to speak. Even though it's not government, they're a private entity there. But if you can just pick and choose those people who really are responsible more for the country and its finances, believe it or not, setting interest rates and things of that nature, then that they would not be impartial. And so they said, no, you just can't. You don't like the way they raised the interest rates 1/4%. You're out. You can't do it, which was good. But again, that was not ideologically based.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because that kind of when you said 46%,
42%.
I'm like, wow. So in all honesty, if it's unanimous, then roughly half of the cases that make it to the Supreme Court, okay, they're brought to them not because of the rule of law, because that's what they're judging by, is what the law says, what the Constitution says, okay? Unbiased. So over almost half are brought because people don't want to really go by what the Constitution says. They just don't like what they're hearing. It's like, so I don't believe that. I don't believe that, and they keep going until, again, it's taken to the Supreme Court because they just don't like the outcomes. And then it gets there and they're like, no, all of us agree. This is what the Constitution, this is what the law says. Yeah. And so it's like, in all honesty, I'm like, half of the cases that they have to hear because it's brought to them are no-brainers, 9-0 decisions, because the people couldn't figure, they didn't like what they heard or the decisions they made. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
No, again, when I read the statistic, I'm like, people need to know. This isn't this, because all you hear about is pack the court. We need more judges because we don't like what the 9 or the 6 or the 3, take your pick, are doing. And that's just not how it works.
Right.
Half of the cases are basically unanimous.
Yeah, I think that's very
no-brainers. It's just, maybe 2 states are fighting, because when 2 states fight, which is what happens out west when it comes to the Colorado River and who can drain that thing quick enough, that's the Supreme Court has to decide that one. So, there are just a lot of cases you don't hear about because they're not politically motivated talking points.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
In some of the biggest cases, which was the one which was a 9-0 decision, was the transgender case recently. People may not realize that. And it said basically the states will decide whether or not transgender children or can play sports on one team or the other. So they didn't even decide, really. They just said, hey, that's a state issue. People were all fired up about that. God forbid you let the state decide, the people, basically. And remember, that's how the founding fathers drew all this up. They didn't want the federal government to be all powerful. They wanted it to basically, an army, some taxes to pay for this, to pay for that. But it was always about, California, Florida, Texas. Well, those weren't the states back then, but they should decide. Those people should decide how they want to govern. Well, we don't want that, do we? So anyway, that was a no-brainer. And then, the other one, which was 9-0, surprisingly, because this was a gun rights case. And the question was, this was a Texas guy who he got arrested because he had a gun, and he said, did he smoke marijuana regularly? So they arrested him because there was a federal law that says if you're a habitual marijuana smoker or drinker, you can't own a firearm. And they said, the Supreme Court, 9-0, said no. They struck down the federal ban and said just because someone smokes marijuana doesn't mean they're forbidden from having a gun. I mean, think about it. There would be a lot
half the country.
I didn't want to say it, but we'll go with that.
Well,
there would be no guns. All right. So that's it. So just take away from this is you don't need to pack the court. It does ebb and flow. It's not, even if you kept going, do your own research, TV world, believe it or not, many decisions are 5-4, meaning one of the conservatives agrees with the liberal. There are 6-3, meaning 2 of the conservatives vote, or 3 of the conservatives vote with the liberal party, right? 6-3, right? Okay. So it's not this, we're 6 conservatives and we're always going to vote the conservative way, which is how the media, what they want you to think. Your AOCs and your Bernie Sanders and all these people really on that side want you to believe that it's a rogue court, and it's just not.
And it is really comforting because you can look at those numbers and get the sense that they're not playing games in their positions. They're taking their role that they've been placed into seriously. Especially like when a decision is unanimous, they're not just going, "Oh, well, I disagree with you because I wear the other color jersey than you and play on different teams." Like this is really comforting that you pointed this out. So I appreciate it. I'm kind of jaded. Maybe I'm a pessimist. I kind of think of myself as a realist.
I am one of you. And I read it in the paper, and I'm like, let me do some research. I'm like, I'm with you. And I think I'm with everybody. It is a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. So let's turn to Jason. Almost got
boy.
So either last Friday, let me set it up, and then Jason can fill in the blank. Last Friday, about 4 or 5 o'clock, I just got home. Whether I popped my first beer or second, I'm not sure, but I get a call from Jason in panic mode.
Yeah, man.
And
I was in panic.
Jason has someone on the phone telling him that a federal court judge is angry with Jason for not showing up for jury duty.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
All right. So Jason's thinking, wait a minute. Crystal, his wife, the writer of my book, was recently summoned for jury duty. She showed up, so there must be a mistake. Well, the scammers were not buying that. They had convinced Jason, no, this wasn't about your wife. This is about you, and you're going to get arrested and go to prison if you don't. Well, Jason, briefly, you take it from there.
Yeah. So they were using my old address and acronyms and everything that you would expect to make it sound very legit. And they're essentially saying that I had 3 citations out for and a warrant for my arrest to come in and to get it resolved. And I was like, okay, because the judge was very mad. He was very angry. And they told me issues about the case that kind of gave me a red flag. Like, you're not supposed to share that information. Anyway.
Hold on. I got to hit pause. Jason is now in hindsight making up bullshit with a Z. Jason was very concerned.
I was very concerned.
Very red flag.
That red flag was a bump. I ran right over it.
There's so many people that don't show up. The judges just don't go tracking them down. Unfortunately for Jason, does one make it in the paper once in a while so everybody hears about it? No, Jason was concerned. So go ahead.
I was very concerned. I was very concerned. Looking back now, it looked like I see the red flag. I didn't at that time. So so I'm on the phone with this guy, and he says we had to keep an open line of communication, and I wasn't able to get off the phone. And then he hits me with, "Are you driving? Are you using a hands-free device?" Blah. So he starts making me feel panicked about driving and having my phone, which has Bluetooth. So no, I wasn't. But anyway, they were putting a lot of the heat on, and I'm sitting here trying to get in touch with Paul. So he calls me while I'm on the phone with this guy, and I'm like, "Paul, what is this stuff?" And he goes, "Oh, go down there and figure it out. Go down there and see." And I'm like, "All right, well, I'll do that." And then the guy tells me
So Jason tells him, "Hey, I'm going to come down to the police station and I'm going to straighten this out." And this is where it fell apart. They told you to do what?
Well, he told me that I couldn't step foot on government grounds with those active because they would have to detain me, and that would lead to me being, incarcerated for 90 days. And then I'm like, wow. So he goes, "Well, you can go ahead and pay surety bonds and get out,
there we go.
and move it along." So I told him.
So Jason calls the sheriff, gives him the cop's name and badge number.
Well, can I tell it real quick?
What does he say? That's a scam.
The person on the dispatcher told me it was a scam.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. And I was like, "Can you, make sure?" Because she was like, "You can just hang up on them." And I'm like, "I want to do more than hang up on them. So if you could really just set me at ease." She's like, "You're good. You're fine. It's a scam." And I'm like, "Okay."
But here's the thing. That happens daily. And billions of people. So look, just don't fall for it. All right. That was Jason's scam. He didn't pay. All 12 cents well. All right. So that's the first 20 minutes. That flew by quickly. All right, so as we do here now, we bring my brother on, Jody Reed, Major League Baseball player, 11 years.
Jody.
Dodgers, Padres, Brewers, Tigers, and Red Sox.
Jody.
Coach for the Yankees in the minor leagues. Coach for the Miami Marlins in the big leagues. 40 years baseball experience. So as you know from if you watched the last couple, I sit at home, watch the Rays game, and something will happen. I'll call him. He'll just like, yeah, well, and he'll give me a little story with some education behind it, and I go on my business. Well, this one was just a horrible, horrible call, and the Rays did not strikeout, and the Rays did not have any challenges left. And I said, you know what? I said, I think the umpires are really angry about this ABS system or whatever it's called because it makes them look bad. And I think I'm telling Jody, I said, once you lose your two challenges, I think they start to take it out on the batter or the pitcher or whomever. And Joe says, well, not really. And here's why. And so, Joe, tell them why that even though your challenges are gone and human nature might want the umpire to retaliate because there's nothing you can do about it now, explain why that really isn't the case. And it made sense. I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know that. So if I didn't know it, I know Jason doesn't know it.
Bro, I'm sitting here like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. So explain.
And it's a nice segue from your Supreme Court segment, because in all honesty, just like the Supreme Court, they take their jobs seriously. They want to do, the best they can, make the most accurate decisions, and quite honestly, we all do in life. It's like we nobody, even in Little League, the umpire doesn't set out to make the wrong call. But as far as Paul was concerned, they take their job very seriously. And I want to start off with, they are very, very, very good. They're the best in the world at what they do. But for those who think they might have it out for the players or a certain team, and who knows, with history, sometimes, they may, take advantage of it, but rarely. So I told him, I said, look, these umpires, they're evaluated and they're rated, by the by MLB.
You said at the end of each game.
Correct. Each game they're tracked, okay, extensively on ball and strike. And we're not talking about just the home plate umpire. We're talking about the other three that are out in the field. They're evaluated on ball strike accuracy. They're evaluated on their positioning, on how they communicate with each other, and how they manage the game. So they're under constant scrutiny, and they're always talking and advising each other and the head office is. So there's a lot of accountability, and here's why. Okay, because in all honesty, it affects. And again, like I said, they're graded. They're graded by each game, which in turn accumulates to over the season. And that grading system will affect their pay on if they get a raise or not. It will affect if they are eligible or considered for like crew chief assignments. And a crew chief is, you have in a regular season game, there's a crew of 4. And in postseason play, there's a crew of 6. And the crew chief is the head umpire. He's in charge of kind of making the decisions, if need be. This is how we're going to do it. And it affects their ability, their eligibility for postseason. So it's not like when you get to the postseason, it's not random. Those are the best guys that have been evaluated and graded and came out and eligible for the postseason. So there's a lot going, there's a lot riding on this. And so, I'm going to throw this to you, Paul, just as Paul, asked with the Supreme Court. What do you think the overall accuracy rate. Now,
Yeah.
understand
Missed
this.
calls.
We're talking home plate ump on this one.
We're talking home plate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, understand this. Okay, pitchers are throwing over 100 miles an hour. The ball could be moving up to 2 feet. Okay, you've got a split second, and you've got catchers that are trying to frame this thing.
Yeah.
It's not like they're holding it there. They're like
Yeah.
ripping it across the plate. So
Yeah.
really trying to distract the umpire's call to go
Mhm.
their way. Okay, I get that. So, what do you think the overall accuracy rate is for umpires? And again, on average,
balls and strikes.
balls and strikes,
Okay.
and they're on average going to see probably 300 pitches a game, 150 per side, roughly. So
All right.
300 pitches. What do you think the overall accuracy rate is?
On getting them right.
Yeah, right.
I'd
exactly.
say like 90 plus. I'd say like 90%.
Paul, what do you got?
I was going 93%.
93.
Okay. Yeah, it's 94%.
Ah, I thought I was good. Oh, look, I got 666 and I rounded.
That's actually really good.
You chat GPT'd it.
No. I just
Don't use the
I said
calculator.
about 25 divided. I think 25 divided by 30 or something.
It's 94%. Okay.
Yeah.
That's 94 out of 100. All right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Okay. Like you say, the players, you think, oh, the players know the strike zone better than anybody, right?
Okay.
So,
no.
so
Depends on who you're asking.
Yeah. These are the best hitters, the best baseball players in the world.
Yeah, I'll give them that. Yeah.
I'll give them that.
What do you think the successful challenge rate is? Well, that means if a player, if a hitter thinks the umpire made the wrong call, he can challenge, okay, and see if the umpire's call was right.
Because a lot of people don't understand baseball, and part of this is
let me understand.
Males, females, youngers, like, why is he tapping his head?
Right.
So briefly tell this the studio audience who's not watching the challenge system and the fact briefly that the teams get 2 challenges.
Right.
Okay. So go ahead.
So baseball implemented the challenge system because there was a huge cry to get the calls right. Try to do the best you can to get it right. And so
that's good.
They implemented an ABS, an automatic ball strike system, and like in the minor leagues, they use it exclusively. Like the umpires don't umpire behind the plate. They have earpieces, and it rings if it's a strike, and it doesn't if it's a ball, and they just call it accordingly.
Wow!
I did not know that.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
So in the minor league system, it's ABS completely.
Okay.
Wow.
Major League Baseball decided we're not there yet. So they implemented a challenge system. So the challenge system is, and like you said, teams get 2 challenges, and they can use it whenever they want. And if a pitcher, batter, or catcher thinks that call was wrong, that the umpire's call was wrong, they can tap their hat. Okay, they tap the top of their head. That tells the umpire, I want to challenge this call. The umpire will step out from behind the plate, wave his arms. He'll wait. He'll wait for the instructions from the ABS umpire, and then he'll make a call accordingly. Okay. And it will be either held up, or it'll be reversed.
Right? So they're not going to challenge just any pitch because they only get 2.
Yeah.
Correct.
So they're only going to challenge something that's like
once you're unsuccessful at your 2, you're out.
Yeah.
So if you fall in the first inning, you got 8 more innings of whatever that call is.
Right. Okay. So you want to reserve it for like this was an important call.
Bases loaded, 7th inning.
Right. Okay. You're
down by 1 run, and it's a close.
Right.
And the umpire strikes you out, and you might tap your head. Say,
so that's the context.
Right.
That's the context.
Whether or not the players challenge it, when a player challenges, they are more right than the umpire. Is that the question?
I'm asking you, What do you think the percentage of the best players in the game when
I
they
won't even.
when they feel like they're right,
I'm going
okay? And
30,
know the
30%.
strike zone. They should know the strike zone better than anybody.
No, not
Yeah.
even.
What do you think the percentage
I'm
is
going lower.
of
I'm thinking
calls getting
10%.
reversed with
Well, see,
umpires?
hold on. The catchers win the most. I'll give you that. Pitchers don't do it as much with batters. So, but you gotta bring in the catchers. I'm gonna go 30% correct rate.
I think so. You only get 2 a game. You get 300 pitches, but you only get 2 challenges a game. So the number of challenges that are
You
even
can
in the pool are
challenge.
small.
Hold on, Jason. As long
What?
as you're successful, you keep the challenge. So you can challenge 100 times.
Oh.
Right. If
As
you're
long as
right,
you're
if
right
you're
100
right,
times, you keep your challenge.
Oh, I didn't
you
know
get
that.
2
Okay.
wrong guesses.
You get 2 wrong guesses.
Oh.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, then I would be, yeah, maybe like 8%, maybe.
Okay.
That's my thought.
48%. 48% are overturned. Half. Okay. They only get half right.
Okay.
Best players in
Okay.
the world.
I wish you
All
had
right.
a
That's
statistic.
better than what I
I
thought.
wish you had a statistic breaking down batters with catchers.
Yeah. So now
Oh,
understand
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Okay. Understand this. All right. We're talking about when you get a call overturned, all right, the ball can miss the strike zone by a tenth of an inch, a
Whoa.
fraction of an inch, and the umpire gets overturned. Okay. So
Yeah, that's a tough one.
exactly.
The human
That's
eye
right.
that's how good that's how good they are.
That's how good
That's
they are.
wild,
That's
dude.
But look,
That's
it's almost
pretty-
like, is the ball on this side of the paper or
Yeah.
the other side?
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're starting to see my point. Okay. And again, when
Okay. Yeah. That's a
fans
lot.
are
That's really good.
watching the game and they're so upset about the strike zone or the
So upset.
umpires and the decisions they're making, they need to understand, okay, these guys are so good. They are unbelievably good. They're unbelievably accurate. Okay. And the umpiring has come such a long way from obviously when I played. It was a different animal. I mean, you were hoping that they just kind of kept it in within 4 inches. That's how big the
Yeah.
zone was because there was no tracking or anything. So it is incredibly good.
That's cool.
And so
The case waiting for you.
moving along with just giving you some umpire education, okay, and the extensiveness, the postseason umpires, all right, the eligibility of determining if you're okay. Okay, these umpires during the regular season, how do they determine who gets to go umpire the biggest games of the year?
World Series.
World Series, the playoff, all of them. Okay, they're not randomly chosen. All right. They're evaluated on their in-game performance metrics. All right. They're also evaluated on there's internal rules. So for instance, a guy can't umpire back-to-back World Series. No matter if you're the best, you just can't do back-to-back World Series. You also can't do back-to-back series. Like you can't do the division series and then turn around and be named to the championship series.
Okay.
All right. And then finally, experience plays a lot of role. So you're getting the most experience. These are the most watched games of the year. All right. Millions and millions of people are watching these games. So Major League Baseball wants to know that they have the best people in there and they're doing, the best job they can of getting it officiated correctly. So it's an incredibly what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, it's a demanding job.
It is demanding, and so the next time that it cracks me up that people want to just bark at the umpires and complain about them, they need to understand that these guys are the best of the best. All right,
They're the Top Gun, baby.
That's really fascinating.
They are the Top Gun of baseball.
Yeah,
in all honesty.
that's really fascinating because I think I think the common person who isn't around the players or the umpires of the league, like you have been with your experience, doesn't know that. We're surrounded by Little League, the DMV, maybe college ball. We're surrounded by errors and being frustrated and making it through. And then I think we sit down and watch a game and go, "Oh, these guys don't know either." That's really cool though, that level of accuracy that they're able to see. Bro, Paul, when you held up that paper, man, and you're like, you're talking like they missed the goal by that much. It's
And it really
wild,
is.
the
Yeah.
level of professionalism and expertise that they bring, very practiced and disciplined to their craft. And I think that's really cool. I'm glad you shared that because
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
and,
wild.
and the advent of technology has brought that ability to come in. But a side note, and this might also bring some clarity. The reason that Major League Baseball was so adamant and demanding about getting these calls right, bringing in instant replay, bringing in the ABS, is, remember that they opened up the Major League Baseball to betting. So
Oh, right.
so
Yeah.
there's
There you go.
There it is. There's the money thing.
huge-
I will not be here
Yeah.
next Friday because I will be in Las Vegas.
I mean,
Happy
and
birthday,
there's
by the way.
Just saying.
Yeah.
and so when people are putting money on the game, okay, legally and doing their thing, there's a huge requirement, huge demand to do the best you possibly can at making sure that every single one of these calls is right.
Transparent. Yeah.
And I don't think it's a slap on the umpires, the human element. They, again, we've shown that they are extremely, incredibly accurate, but
Yeah.
baseball found it a necessity to go beyond that and just use every avenue they could.
Wow.
Yeah.
That didn't even cross my mind, but
Yeah.
it's like my
It is
head
now.
blew up because exactly as a
Yeah.
degenerate gambler, you have to have the right calls because you can win or lose a couple of bucks, so to speak.
Yeah, no, it's understandable. So
Yeah.
the next
Yeah.
time you're watching a game and a call's challenged and they show the little box and they
Yeah.
show it outside the box by a tenth of an inch, give the
Yeah,
umpire,
well,
give
I
the
will say
umpire.
this, the next time you're on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it, and
Yeah.
you see that car drive all the way through the Bellagio until it hits the sports book, and he says, my foot got stuck. Yeah, it got stuck right till I plowed through the Bellagio sports book because they struck out my guy with bases loaded in the ninth inning.
Yeah. Well, do yourself a favor. Go get a tape measure, open it up,
Yeah. 10th.
and look at a tenth of an inch
No, man.
before you go, oh, he got reversed. Look at a tenth of an
Yeah.
inch.
Oh, I already
Okay.
know it.
And
Yeah, it's
remember,
nothing.
the ball's
These two
going,
business cards.
the ball's going,
That's really it.
that's what I'm saying. The ball's
Yeah.
going 100 miles an hour.
At
It's
that.
moving all over the place. You got a catcher snatching it from where it arrived. Okay. And the umpires are accurate 94% of the time.
Yeah.
And
That's
here's the thing.
wild,
Here's another thing you can
That's
do, which is
wild.
interesting.
That's wrong.
So sitting in your chair at home with your cold one, just do this. And that's the time it leaves the
Yeah.
pitcher's hand till it gets to home plate. It literally is.
Yeah.
And I'm
Correct.
not making that up. It's like hand
Mm-mm.
catch. That's the time
So-
you got to see where
Yeah.
that ball is.
Yeah, that's right. And in all honesty, we tried this. From the time the ball leaves the pitcher's hand till it gets to the catcher's mitt, you can't click a stopwatch twice. Okay? You can't click the stopwatch
Wow.
twice in the time it takes to get there. We tried
Wow.
it.
Yeah, that's look, it's pretty quick.
It's that quick. And that's the umpire has to make a decision, strike or ball. So
And the batter has to make a decision, swing or don't.
well,
All right.
and
I got to
again,
get out of here.
All right.
To the car wash, and Gigi's got some new tires on her car. Jody, as always, we appreciate you coming. I a few things even I learned, which I do every time you're on, because I didn't even think about the gambling issue.
Yeah.
But that's just huge. Yeah. And good deal. Well, Jason, you got any last words?
I don't, man. I thank you
Any
for
last words?
I do. So I'm actually I'm helping myself from receiving calls from you while you're watching the Rays game. I'm trying to give a little understanding.
This is cathartic.
And the rest of those out there that are tempted to throw something through their TV.
Jason, you got to give them the ding. Oh, it's Paul. It's between 7 and 6:40. Give them the hello.
Yes. Because I know what it's about, and it's coming about 3 more times.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
We gotta laugh.
Hello, and that's it. Yes, dude.
Every night I can tell it.
Hey, that's the same way Paul answers the calls when I call him.
I know when a Rays game on, because I'll get it.
What? What? All right. Well, here's the deal. As I always do, look, there's 180 something hours in a week. Spend 1 hour at church thanking Jesus for everything he's done for you. And so with that, Jason, take us out of here. Thank you, Jesus, for allowing us to be here. Without you, none of this is possible. And we'll see. Well, we won't see you next week. Maybe Ryan and Jason will be on here, because like I said, I'm going to Vegas to bet on baseball.
You got it. Happy birthday.
Reed and Reed, it's like having a lawyer in the family.